around the world. No one is anywhere near that.
There's some fascinating chapters in the book how you document dissent in Japan and South Korea being crushed by US hegemonic power. Of course, all the talk here is of Jeremy Corbyn, who obviously dissents from US hegemonic power. Do you think the United States will be able to crush his Labour leadership, let alone his British premiership if he's elected Prime Minister?
Well, it looks like he's going to win the Labour leadership election. Now, Corbyn's an interesting fellow. I had experience with him in 2011. He protested in relation to my treatment in the UK Parliament, saying it was unnatural in terms of natural justice for someone to be extradited without charge. They should at least be charged in the United Kingdom. And he proposed amendments which eventually were accepted in 2014 to ban that practice in future. Corbyn, I have thought a lot about this, whether he can survive in a Labour leadership position, taking his historically quite critical line in relation to the UK-US relationship. And to give you an example of just how different that is, a quote from a cable sent by the American ambassador to Washington, D.C. after meeting William Hague, who was the foreign minister in this government.
Lord Hague probably now, isn't he?
Well, he's still an important person in the Parliament. Hague said he, David Cameron, that's the Prime Minister, and George Osborne, the Treasurer, were, quote, children of Thatcher and staunch Atlanticists. America is the essential country. Hague said whoever enters 10 Downing Street as Prime Minister soon learns of the essential nature of the relationship with America. He added, "We want a pro-American regime. We need it. The world needs it." And that is such a world away from where Jeremy Corbyn is right now.
That's our Foreign Secretary in the US Embassy here in central London.
And you might go, well, he's just telling Americans what they want to hear, but look at the degree of language. I mean, they're not complete fools. They expect payback on these promises. And Corbyn is not speaking like this. And there is I think there's a real risk to his leadership long term. Interesting question is if Corbyn could not be kicked out to political destabilisation or leaks to the media of intelligence intercepts, his long-term safety. If he kept on a line of saying withdraw UK from NATO, he has already weakened that line, saying, well, it's not the focus now. We need to talk about what is the role of NATO and so on. Well, fair enough. But if he maintained a very aggressive line of saying we must scrap Trident, we must remove UK from NATO, I would be quite concerned about the risks that he would be intentionally politically destabilised by the United States or something worse. Because we're talking about the relationships between great powers, about the UK's nuclear weapons system, which forms effectively part of the American empire. The US has bases here. Its largest interception base is up at Menwith Hill in Yorkshire. It's over 6,000 NSA personnel working it directly. It's quite hard to undo that relationship. I think my suspicion is that Corbyn will realise that if he hasn't already, and will play it smart. NATO will be off the agenda, maybe fine-tuning UK's role in NATO, and Trident will be off the agenda. I suspect that it's not possible to win an election in UK unless that is done. But then again, no one would have thought it would be possible for him to be Labour leader at all.